Today, we are diving into an idea from the very edge of science, one that could completely change how you see every single choice you've ever made and every time you've gotten lucky. Just let that sink in for a second. I'm not talking about some hypothetical what-if version of you. I mean another, actual you right now, living a life that's split off from yours. It's a mind-bending thought, right? But hold on, because it gets even weirder. And suddenly, this goes from a cool sci-fi concept to something, well, kind of creepy. This really unsettling idea doesn't just come from Hollywood, though. It actually has roots in a very real and very, very strange scientific theory. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we have to take a trip into the bizarre world of quantum physics. This is where we find something called the many worlds theory, a concept so wild it feels like it was ripped straight out of a movie script. So what is it? In a nutshell, the theory says our reality is just one branch on a gigantic, maybe infinite, tree of possibilities. Every single possible outcome of every single event doesn't just disappear. It actually happens, just in its own separate universe. And this isn't some brand new idea. Nope, it was actually first put forward way back in the 1950s by a physicist named Hugh Everett. He was trying to solve a really deep puzzle at the heart of quantum mechanics. See, on the tiniest level, things get super weird. Before we look at them, tiny particles are in this kind of blurry haze of existing in all possible states at the same time. But the instant we measure one, it kind of snaps into just one single state. So Everett asked this brilliant question. Wait a minute, what happens to all those other possibilities? He argued they don't just vanish. No, they each get to play out in their own universe. Let's bring this down to earth. Picture this. You're standing at a crosswalk, deciding whether to cross the street. According to this theory, the very moment you make a choice, the universe splits. In this one, you step off the curb, but another universe instantly pops into existence where you don't. Both versions of you are totally real, now just living in parallel worlds. Every tiny decision could be creating new realities. Okay, so that's the science. But some people connect this theory to some really strange, unexplainable stories from our own world. Are they just coincidences? Or are they glitches in the matrix? Maybe something more? Let's look at a couple of famous ones. One of the most classic examples is the baffling case of the man from Taured. It's a historical mystery that people have been scratching their heads over for decades. So, get this. The year is 1954. A man lands at the Tokyo airport. His passport looks legit, but it's from a country that no one's ever heard of, Taured. When the customs officials show him a map, he points right to Andorra, and he gets genuinely angry and confused why his country of Taured isn't on the map. They put him up in a hotel for the night, with guards posted right outside his door. The next morning, poof, he was just gone, vanished from a locked room. Okay, that was a while ago. How about something more recent? Something that was supposedly caught on camera at a super famous historic site. So back in 2003, at the Hampton Court Palace in the UK, a fire alarm kept going off in one specific area. Security guards went to check it out, found nothing. When they checked the security footage, they saw this strange cloaked figure suddenly appear, close these massive fire doors, and then just disappear. They searched the entire palace, found absolutely no one. Was it a ghost? Or, as some have wondered, a brief glimpse into a parallel world? Those stories are fascinating, for sure, but the many worlds theory has a final implication that's way more personal and honestly way more disturbing than any ghost story. It's an idea called quantum immortality. Let this idea really hit you. If every single possible outcome has to happen, that means there is always a universe where you survive any life-threatening event. So the theory of quantum immortality suggests that your consciousness, your sense of self, will always automatically follow the path of survival. You would never, ever experience your own death. Think back through your own life, right now. That car that almost hit you, that bad fall you took as a kid, that time you got really, really sick. Every moment where you thought, wow, I was so lucky. But what if it wasn't luck? This is the really chilling part. You're here listening to this in this reality simply because this is the timeline where you didn't die. In who knows how many other universes, another version of you wasn't so lucky. Your consciousness just continued on its journey in the reality where you survived. You aren't just living a life, you are living the one version of your life that hasn't ended. So, the ultimate question isn't just whether other universes exist. If your consciousness just hops from one surviving version of you to the next, then death as we think of it might just be a transition. You wouldn't feel a thing, you just continue. So, the question is when this reality finally ends for you, where will you wake up next?